Hello, everybody. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. Happy June. Welcome. My name is Tara Stevenson. I serve as the Vice President of Student Affairs here at Flagler College. And I am so excited to be joined tonight by Adriana. Adriana, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and then we'll jump into what we're going to be chatting about tonight.
Yeah, hi, I'm Adriana. I'm a double major in coastal environmental science and biology with a minor in hospitality and tourism management. And I'm a rising senior here on campus. I've lived here all four, or going on all four of my years. And I've lived in FEC in Lewis House. So yeah.
All right. So, tonight we are here to talk about just what it's like living on campus. This is a series geared toward our incoming students and families. And so we are joined by over 100 tonight already. A couple housekeeping topics. And so tonight's session will be going over living on campus. For questions about classes or other areas within Flagler, business services, athletics, things like that. We're going to have a different series throughout the whole summer where we're going to dive more into these topics. You can see all of those sessions and register for them ahead of time in our family portal. If you're not a part of the family portal yet, I definitely recommend registering and getting in there. We will have the Q&A up tonight, and so I will be looking over that and we will try to get to as many questions as we can. But tonight we've got a couple different question or topics to go over that we typically see from our incoming families and students, and then open it up to everybody else. So, Adriana, you've lived in FEC and Lewis. Tell us about Lewis.
Yes, so Lewis, I lived as a first year student on campus. It was a little bit untraditional because the year I came in, we had three students per room. Um, I think they were just testing it out and it's not going back to three students per room. I still think it was a great experience. I went in with random roommates, and I'm still best friends with one of them to this day. My suite mate and my other roommate I see around occasionally and I'll still wave. So I think going in with a random roommate is still a really great option if you're not certain about who you're coming into campus with. Um, Lewis is a Jack and Jill style for those of you who haven't been to campus, which just means that two rooms are going to share a bathroom. The bathroom is just going to have your shower, your toilet, and a double sink. So you'll just share the vanity area. We were able to manage it pretty well. Again, with six girls sharing a bathroom, it sounds crazy, but it actually wasn't too bad. We kind of had like a cleaning list, and you kind of just discussed amongst your roommates and your suite mates just how to navigate living together and in that bathroom space. We put up a curtain to separate our toilet area as well to give us some more privacy.
Oh,
But yeah, we kind of just made it our own thing. We had a rug. We had no bunk beds because some people left bunk beds in their room. We said no bunk beds and we debunked them. We had all of our dressers underneath. It was fun, honestly. I think my favorite part about kitchen is that there was a kitchen. My favorite part about Lewis is that there was a kitchen on the third floor. Sorry, I stumbled over my
very
words.
true.
One of my roommates, she loved to cook, so it's something I always tell my tours is that um every time she would tell us to go that she was going to study, she would come down with a pot of fried rice because she loved making fried rice or mac and cheese.
Sign me
So
up.
if
Oh,
you're
both.
skilled, you can go and do that. If you just want to make, some ramen up in that on the stove, you're more than welcome to. So yeah, that's probably a very fun part. And then the Lewis laundry room, because there's a laundry room in every building. The Lewis laundry room is also on the third floor, so it was kind of convenient. We'd cook while we did our laundry. So easy
Love
pass.
it. So you definitely dropped a lot of little nuggets that
Mhm.
we're going to be talking about
Oh
throughout
yeah.
tonight's session, and that we typically get questions on. But one thing that I did want to touch on is you said that you were in a triple and Lewis, and typically
Hmm.
Lewis is not tripled. However, you came in at the time that Ponce had undergone some of the damage, which has
Right.
spurred all the renovations that we've seen over the past few
Hmm.
years. So tell us what students can expect from Ponce. Let's let that be the segue for there.
Ponce is beautiful. Ponce is that main picture that you see when you look up Flagler College, the hotel, everything and more. The courtyard and like the lobby area has a study space outside for students to study. I know a lot of my friends freshman year, and I know a lot of students that over the last couple years will sit out there and they'll FaceTime their moms, will study for a test or anything like that. Um, and those rooms are very different. When Henry Flagler was creating the hotel, he wanted every room to be different. So no two rooms are alike. Ponce, unlike Lewis, has doubles and triples and has private bathrooms as well as suited bathrooms. You'll learn all over campus there's no communal bathrooms. So Ponce, you don't really know where you're going to get. Every room, like I said, is completely different, and I can't emphasize that enough. Um, so you're definitely going to get, there's a room that might have a fireplace that doesn't work, but it's there. Some rooms might have some shelves left over. There's a piece of the original wallpaper that's framed in one of our halls, which is really cool to walk by sometimes. Um, and in Ponce, every floor and eventually every wing, because our west wing is finishing up those renovations to be opened this fall. So you'll make new memories in there that no one has before. So each floor and eventually every wing does have its own laundry room in there. So that's really convenient for those students living in there. And those rooms are just absolutely stunning, honestly. I mean, every room has its own perk. Every building has its own perk, but Ponce is going to be like your sightseeing, your hotel living, like, you're very bougie-esque, and it's connected to the dining hall. So if it is raining, you don't have to whip out your rain boots and your rain jacket to go get some food. That's
Well,
definitely
and
one.
we know not every student gets that, Ponce experience, which is
Mhm.
why there's so many different perks and pros to all
Yeah.
the different residence halls. Like you mentioned, the kitchen that's in Lewis, there isn't a
Mhm.
kitchen in Ponce. There's the balcony style rooms where the doors open to the outside in Lewis, whereas in Ponce, all the rooms open up to the inside. So again, there's lots of those little gems that are in each of them, but all of them have the laundry rooms, like you're mentioning, the study spaces, study nooks, some outdoor patio areas that students can take advantage of. And so, our last first year hall that we wanted to touch on is Cedar. So, can you tell us about Cedar?
Yeah, absolutely. Cedar and Lewis are often referred to as sister buildings. They are very, very similar, like Tara mentioned. The Lewis rooms on the second and third floor are entered through the outside, which I think is a fun perk as well. But Cedar's all on the inside. Cedar's also suited. However, those vanities are going to be inside the rooms. So you'll have your own sink and storage area as opposed to sharing that with your suite mate, which is really nice. So if you love your little vanity area and you want all the get ready area, that's definitely fun.
The
So
way to
you'll
call
have
it from now
two,
on.
yeah, that's what I call it. You have your little vanity or just a lot more storage on your side, and then that what's shared between the two rooms because it's also Jack and Jill styled is gonna have your toilet and your shower, so basic, toilet shower. And again, you'll just communicate with your roommates and your suite mates, just kind of how to decorate everything, how you want to live, and things like that. With Cedar, we just renovated it this past academic school year, so the 23-24 school year was under renovations. So they have all the buildings now, but including Cedar, have a thermostat to control your AC and your heating in there as well. A lot of students enjoy Cedar because if they bring their car their first year, there is a parking lot. There's three parking lots within walking proximity to Cedar Hall. Definitely think it's another one of the perks, and they have a really, really large study space on that first floor that has a TV and a bunch of different funky, fun chairs as well.
Yeah.
So.
So, great question that just came in is the kitchen that's in Lewis, is that accessible to any student?
So the kitchen in Lewis is fortunately and unfortunately available to only the Lewis residents. This is for safety reasons because you only get to be able to scan into only your residence hall. So obviously all your main academic buildings, but then when it comes to residence halls, it's only your students hall. So if you have a friend that lives in Lewis, or you know someone else that lives there, or an RA in there, we're cool too. You're more than welcome to, ask them to let you in to use it, but it is only open to technically your Lewis residents.
And that's why we always try to highlight and discuss like the different pieces of each hall because they all have their own, I call it personality, but they all have their own little perks. And so, like there's a study area on the third floor of Ponce. That is very enjoyable, but that's only accessible to the
Yes.
Ponce
The
residents or at
birdcage
the
is
ponds.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And so kind of different uniques. Just to reiterate, what you had said, all the rooms have their own thermostats
Yes.
in the residence
All of them
halls.
have their own version of a thermostat. They might not all look the same. Lewis has a big AC cooler. It's my favorite thing. It gets really, really cold in there. But all the other rooms, I think all over campus do have their own thermostat in the room, which is nice. So when it's August and you just moved in and you want an ice box in your room, you can do that. Or when it's January and it's pushing 30. I'm from New York, so I know what cold is. When it's pushing 30, you might want to switch over to heat. So all of them do have availability for that as well.
Absolutely. And you did touch on this. There's laundry facilities in all of the
Mm-hmm.
halls.
Mm-hmm.
No quarters like I had to do when I went to
Nope.
college. So that was like
Very
the gift to
nice.
get. Yes. And so laundry facilities are free. There are washers and
Hmm.
dryers that are there. And so that's something for
Yeah.
everybody to know that you don't have to send it out. Now, you mentioned something that you guys added to your bathroom in Lewis that I think we just need
Hmm.
a little bit of clarification on.
Yeah, for sure.
And so you put a little curtain in front of the
Yes.
toilet area, but somebody's asking, like, is there no door? So can you just
Yes.
explain a
Okay.
little bit more that, yes, privacy is important to us?
For sure. Um, there is, so when you walk into a Lewis room, you have your main furniture, which I'm sure we're gonna cover a little bit later. But the Lewis, to get into the bathroom, there is a bathroom door on both sides. Inside the physical bathroom, on one side is gonna be your double sink, and on the other side is two tiled walls. There's the shower, and then a tile wall, and then the toilet. The shower comes with the shower rod, but then there's that same spacing by the toilet area. Doesn't have a shower rod, so we just bought a rod and a curtain. Hope that clarified it up a little bit.
Yeah, so there
I
are
actually have a
doors. There's doors
yeah,
on
I think
either side. It's just allowed
yeah.
for somebody to maybe use
Mhm.
the sink if they felt comfortable going in while somebody else was behind the
Oh,
curtain in
absolutely.
the toilet
I
area.
think last summer I actually did a tour of Lewis House with our communications team and people who work with the Flagler College Instagram. So I don't know if it's on the Instagram or the Facebook, and it might be a little bit back, but there is a video tour of Lewis if you haven't made it to campus yet.
Yes, and so that is a
Hmm.
great plug right there is
Yeah,
a couple of our RAs from about 2 summers ago, they did some hall tours so that
yeah.
students could really see what the inside looks like. Just to answer a couple common questions that we get, we unfortunately do not have the dimensions for each room that's on
Hmm.
our campus. Ponce is so unique that each one, there would be no way to do it all. However, all the floor plans for our residence halls have been posted into the resources section of our eRes Life portal. And so students have access to that portal through their Flagler credentials. They can head to the resources area and see what that floor plan looks like. What comes in each room, regardless
Yeah.
of where you live at, what is every student guaranteed to get?
Yes. So every student, you're going to get a bed and a bed frame. I saw a question about sheets. Those sheets are going to be a twin XL bed sheet. Typically it comes with in Target, it's like twin/twin XL because they have like the double band. They're actually some of the most comfortable sheets ever. So twin XL bed and bed frame. You'll get a desk and desk chair, and this is per student. You'll get a dresser and a closet space. So you're not like one student gets a dresser, one student gets a closet. No, you both get a dresser space and a closet. Um, and then each wood furnish in each building has a different type of furniture, but you get the same base furniture. And then per two students, you're gonna get a micro fridge, which is a microwave and a mini fridge. And that mini fridge also includes a freezer. So it's not just a fridge. You can make your own ice and stuff like that. So in Ponce, those triples that we might have will have two fridges as well.
So I always kind of joke, my daughter, the big gamer, she has like one of those big gaming chairs and stuff like that. And so can you talk about bringing furniture
Hmm.
into the room and what
Yeah.
that all looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I mentioned, freshman year with three of us in that room, there wasn't much room to bring extra furniture. But sophomore year, me and my roommate both had a bigger ottoman, and I bought like a plastic dresser to like from Target that kind of holds a little bit extra stuff. And If you want to buy couches and stuff, if you have the space, definitely wait till you're here. However, any of the furniture that you are provided from Flagler College must stay in the residence hall room. It cannot be placed into the hallway. It cannot be removed and taken home or anything like that. It has to stay in the room one way or another. So, for example, last year in my Lewis room as an RA, I had a beautiful couch, and I still have my chair because I brought my couch home for the summer. But my chair, I have a different chair for my desk. So I just put my desk chair in the closet for the semester because again, you can't remove it. It was also useful if someone else came over and they didn't want to sit on the couch, whatever, we had an extra chair. So yeah.
And so that's definitely something to think about is, maybe getting to the space first, seeing what it looks like, seeing what, the layout and the vibe is going to be like with roommates, and then
Mhm.
and maybe adding extra shelves or things like that. And so we've got some questions coming in fast and furious that we are going to try to get to.
Mhm.
What you did talk about is that a micro fridge, one of those is for every two students. And so if you're in a triple in Ponce, you'll get two micro fridges. What about things that students can bring or cannot bring?
Yeah. So I believe there's a list on our website
Mhm.
of a full in-depth plenty of things you can and cannot bring. Some of the top things you are not allowed to bring is anything with an open coil, so a toaster, a hot plate, um, an air fryer, anything like that that can heat up. Um, you can't bring candles, lighters, anything that looks like fire. Um, you can bring what I usually have is like the Bath and Body Works wall plugins. A lot of students will bring wax melts. Oh my goodness.
I was like,
If they
coffee?
want, yeah, sorry, my words are something all over. Wax melts to help the smell in their room because I know a lot of students like the smell of candles. Um,
But no open
and
flame
you
candles.
Yes, yes. I don't like fire. I for whatever I've had a fear of fire since a kid, so I don't have to worry about candles. But I know a lot of residents love their candles and everything like that. And freshman year, we had some cute little candles, and our RA was like, "Please remove this, or we're gonna take it." And I was like, "Okay, we're gonna remove it from my desk, even though we didn't light it."
What
Some
about
other
some
things you can't.
appliances? Like, if maybe they live in Cedar and there isn't the kitchen that's in Lewis, what are some
Yeah.
appliances that students can or cannot have?
Um, I don't know
What about a
what
tea
appliances
kettle? Let's
they
go ahead and
can.
play a game here. Tea
Oh
kettle.
yeah, tea
Tea
kettle.
kettle.
Yeah. No,
Air fryer.
no, or less.
Toaster.
No.
Keurig.
Yes.
Mini fridge for cosmetics.
No.
I'm trying to think of what else. A
Yeah, you can't have
vacuum.
like a what?
A vacuum.
Yes. Yes. Definitely bring your vacuum. I love
What
a
about
good vacuum. I'll sweep and then vacuum.
okay, what
Um,
about here's one, sandwich griddle, like a George Foreman.
no. Oh,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have a
So there's
waffle iron. So you can have a waffle iron.
okay,
Definitely make sure to unplug it. But I think the biggest thing that I heard is like no open red coil.
correct.
Or
Um,
like a coffee pot. Like I know at your house you have your big coffee pot that has the hot plate at the bottom to keep it warm. You can't bring those, but a Keurig or an espresso, things like that you can bring on campus. I have mine in my corner, because there's no hot plate at the bottom.
okay. But again, on the Residence Life website, we have the full list of things that
Mhm.
students can and can't bring. It's also in our code of conduct and student
Yeah.
handbook. And so if there's any question, any concern, maybe we don't bring it on move-in day, connect with the RA, and then we can
Hmm.
always, revisit it and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Okay, so we are getting some questions, and I promise I am looking through them and trying to get to them as quickly
Yeah.
as we can. Um, let's talk about bunking and unbunking and just
Mhm.
maintenance requests in general.
Yeah, so the convenient thing is that as of last summer and every summer, the summer RAs and during training, the RAs will go through every room and make sure there is a QR code list on the back of every door. That list has a bunch of QR codes to bunch of very important resources, one of them including maintenance requests, so you don't have to go looking for the maintenance website. It'll bring you to our school dude website, which brings up a form that you can kind of fill out. It'll ask you for basic information like your name, your ID number, and then it'll start getting into like where you saw the problem. So if it was in your room, you can put like Lewis house, and then you can put my bedroom. Then you can put the specific number or dorm number that you have. Um, and then underneath that is going to have like a selection of problems between plumbing, blinds, electricity, whatever's going on. So let's say it's blinds. And then there's a little box for you to enter the exact problem. Blinds won't close, toilet won't flush, any of those problems. And then you can select a calendar date for you to specifically pick. If you want it by tomorrow, they're not here on the weekend, so you'll have to do it. If you're doing it on a Friday, you schedule it for a Monday, things like that. And then there is a section to upload photos if you can or if you need to. Um,
And
when if you need,
they try their hardest to work with
yeah,
you.
they do.
Obviously, if we put something in at, 4 p.m. and we want them to come the
Mhm.
next day, it's probably not going to happen the next day. It's good to give them a little bit of grace,
Yeah.
but they'll communicate. The
Oh, for
facilities
sure.
team does a really good job
And
communicating.
yeah, and if any student is having trouble filling it out or anything like that, the RAs have no problem helping them walk through it. The RAs or any staff member cannot fill it out for your student because the form is giving maintenance consent to walk into your student's room. So we don't want to fill it out and then that's on us. So it is the student's responsibility, but we have no problem helping them and walking through it with them.
Great way to look at it. And
Hmm.
so we have some rooms that will have bunk beds.
Yes.
And so if a student or family arrives on move-in day and they're seeing that the bed is bunked, or maybe that they want to bunk the beds to create a little bit more room, what
Yeah.
would they do?
You can typically contact maintenance, and maintenance will come in and help debunk them for you as
Okay.
well. Um,
And they'll try to get through those as quickly as they can on move-in
yeah,
day. We know that everybody's wanting to set up things. It's
yeah,
not something that can be submitted ahead of time because we won't know if that bed will be bunked or not bunked
yeah,
until facilities and housekeeping has had a chance to really set that room up. And so not to worry about that. But again, as everybody's kind of setting up the room that day, some may choose at the last minute to bunk it because they want to add a little bean bag or something
yeah, for
to the
sure.
space.
Um, I would definitely say before buying any furniture, like we talked about earlier, whether that is a beanbag chair, whether that is like a little cubicle, anything, any big pieces of furniture, I will say wait until you get here. We have a Walmart, Target, Publix, and Winn-Dixie all within a 10-minute drive from campus. You got all the bases covered. There's a Buc-ee's about 30 minutes from campus in case that's important to anyone. So you definitely have some important places to get these furnitures. There's Marshalls, Ross, Home Goods, things like that all in the area as well. So I know freshman year, first year moving, I said, "Mom, there's too many people in here, and you got to get out." So she went to the stores. She bought me a bunch of stuff after we saw the space from when we reorganized it. So definitely
I
wait.
love
I also
that.
see a question about furniture or shipping things coming from New York. Last I heard, and from my first year, everything that I say, um, the mailroom accepts packages up to 2 weeks before move-in. So I remember freshman year, I utilized that very, very, very well. I know my friends have last year as well. Just shipped it to the mailroom. You'll get your mailing address and everything in your My Flagler. Um, I don't exactly know the navigation to get there, but it will be posted on your My Flagler where you can see your rooming assignment and everything else like that.
And
Um,
once that does become available for shipping items, that will be a part of those weekly newsletters that our students receive. And so a lot of
yeah,
times what we do is we're emailing the students those newsletters, and then we're putting some of those gentle reminders into our family portal so that they can see them.
yeah.
And along that same line, are you a fan of Amazon?
Oh, I just got an Amazon package yesterday. I love
Okay.
Amazon.
And so Amazon can deliver to campus.
Mhm.
And so students can
Yeah.
absolutely have things sent. A couple other questions that we're getting, and then I'll kind of move us through some other things, is what about hanging things up in the
Yeah.
rooms?
So we recommend no command strips or command hooks. Um, they tend to rip the paint off these walls, especially in ponds. We don't really want any damages to our walls, considering the west side will be brand new and it is so historical. We just want to kind of keep everything the way it is. So we recommend the gray Gorilla Tack or like the putty, whatever it's called. You can put on there. I've used masking tape for some of my posters, and it works really well. Masking tape doesn't really, or painter's tape doesn't really um, ruin the walls or anything like that. No pins, no holes in the wall. You're gonna be paying for that for the at the end of the year. Um, or really any no nails, nothing that will make damage into the wall at all.
Yeah, and that's one question that I did see in here is we know that it's your home, and so we know that it's
Mhm.
going to be a lived-in space. We're asking all the students to look at that space when they first arrive. The RAs will have looked at it, the staff will have looked at it, and so if it's different from regular lived-in experiences, then there will be some of those damages. One thing that I am going to plug right now because we're working on this with our students that just departed campus is don't worry about finding a matching paint because typically it won't match and our team will have to end up going in and painting over.
Mhm.
And so we appreciate the effort that some of our family members and students have done, but we're going to leave that to the experts. The tools that Adriana has shared about like what to use to hang stuff up is really going to be the best bet.
I
Um,
also believe that's also on the website. So part of student conduct and what do's and don'ts, that's all on the website as well. But Walmart
yes.
sells like like a pack of like 30 or 40 little tacks for like $3. So
Yeah, and a lot of that is going to be again on the Residence Life website. We've got a Henry's Essentials link, and dorm room essentials all on the website. That's got a list of recommended items to bring, maybe recommended items to leave at home, some things to do or not to do. I know that we won't have just first year students that are staying on campus. So could you tell us a little bit about the upper class housing options that we
for
have?
sure. So we have for our sophomores and some juniors, we have our FEC and Aber towers, or FEC towers and Aber housing. FEC is your typical two per room. You have your own bathroom and own sink per person. Same furniture applies. I kind of like to call FEC more of a hotel, which is ironic because we do have a hotel on this side as well. But FAC is more, your standard, same amount of space and everything like that. And then Aber, we like to call more of our apartment style. So Aber is gonna your walk in, you'll have some cabinets and stuff in a little common area. You'll have a single and a double in most rooms. Some rooms might have two singles and a double, and then a bathroom for all those roommates to share. So a little bit more privacy per room. Again, get the same essentials and everything like that. Connecting our two FEC and Aber buildings, we have the Commons. The Commons is open to everyone. There are separate scanners inside the building to get into the residence halls. So the Commons has some other facilities that are some really fun facilities for students to kind of utilize, and our campus recreation team definitely utilizes them a lot. And then the last one we have is our junior senior housing as well, which is our Sebastian House. It's a little bit past FEC and Aber over on A1A. It's a beautiful, colorful house. It used to be Sebastian Hotel. When I came here, that Christmas, I remember getting an email. We just bought Sebastian Hotel, so it's lovely and it's a beautiful place. One of my friends was an RA in there. So you have two full queen beds in there. You also have your own bathroom. It is still literally a hotel room when you walk in, but we've just kind of Flaglerized it a little bit. They also have
Um,
their own pool over there.
yes,
We
they
also
do.
we have our campus pool that's open to everyone, but we have our Sebastian pool for our students who live over there, which is really awesome as well.
Yes. And so, just a point of clarification, we were very excited by how many returning students and upper
Hmm.
class students wanted to live on campus next academic year. And so, the original thought was to kind of have sophomores all together and then have junior seniors in Sebastian. And we didn't want to turn anybody away from having a home. And so, you'll see that there are sophomores, juniors, seniors that are living in all three of those places: Aber, FEC, and Sebastian. And so, if you are a transfer student coming in and you've been placed in one of those areas, please know that it's been intentional. We've tried really hard to work with pairing some of those transfer students together since it's a shared experience. A couple quick rapid fire questions that I can see coming in. Cleaning supplies will not be provided, and so everybody will need to bring those. No mini fridges. We will provide those mini fridges for students. So please do not bring another
Yeah.
mini fridge. Or I know what's very popular is like the lotion fridge that's on the counter in the get ready
I
space.
Yeah, I will say the micro fridges that we are provided are bigger than your dad's beer fridge in the garage, I promise. Um, I know all of them have it, but it's definitely a decent size. Me and my roommates have fit plenty of things. Sometimes we're playing Tetris with what to put in there. I know some students who brought an ice maker, so they can have a separate spot for their ice because some people really like their ice. So we like the freezer and the fridge are definitely like more spacious than you think. Um, I definitely remember sophomore year, we had like two things of juice. We had a bunch of fruit in there all the time, maybe some chocolate. So definitely you can definitely fit your skincare in this fridge as well. Again, come to campus and see what you're provided with before having to buy anything additional. But yeah, a
Okay.
mini fridge is something you can't additionally bring.
Some other things is curtains are in, or excuse me, blinds are in all of the rooms. Curtains are not.
Yeah.
But we just want to make sure that everybody knows, like to be cognizant of any sort of hardware going into those walls, and things like that. All right. We are still getting a lot of questions coming
Yeah.
in. But what I'd love for you to talk about really quickly is
Yeah.
um, trash bins. Are those provided?
So yeah, trash bins in the room. I think that's a new thing. Trash bins in the room are provided for students, which is
Yes.
really nice because we walked in sophomore year and we were like, we get our own trash can. Like we both bought a trash can before moving in, so we had three trash cans in our room.
Got it. All the
So
bases
there is
covered.
one pretty decent sized trash can. I would say it's a medium in the room. If you want to bring your own bathroom trash can, if you want to bring a bigger one, put that one in the bathroom, whatever the case might be, you're more than welcome to do that. As for taking your trash out, every residence hall kind of has its own little perk and little way to do it. For example, in Ponce, the first, second, and third floor, you're gonna have trash chutes. If it can't fit down to the chute, you're gonna go down to the lobby floor and you can throw it in the trash room. Um,
And
Cedar,
there's also dumpsters around at the different
yes.
halls too,
Yeah,
and so
Cedar and
trash is,
Lewis have their own dumpsters.
yeah.
Again,
But trash
all the
bags
buildings.
need to be provided
Yeah.
by the students. Toilet paper needs to be provided by the
Yeah.
students. Any laundry hampers need to be provided by the
Yeah.
students.
Yeah.
And so it's, again, on the website, we do show all that is provided in that room. And then
Yeah.
around each hall, we do have some parking options.
Hmm.
And so you can see the parking map on the website. We can't always guarantee that there will be a front row
Yeah.
spot or a spot that's right there by your residence hall. However, we do have the parking garage that's located down at the Commons, and then we have our safe rides and shuttle service. One of our
Hmm.
future sessions will be with our Director of Safety and Security and be able to go over all of those offerings.
Yeah.
I know a big question that we are seeing is move-in day. And so move-in day is Friday, August 22nd. Your student will receive more information on when during that day they can move in and what the flow of the day will look like and what you can expect. On July 31st at 6 p.m., here's your save the date right now is we'll be doing a deep dive into what to expect on move-in day and what that day is going to look like. It is
Yeah.
my absolute favoriteest day. I tell everybody it is
Yeah.
hot
It is
and
a pretty
gross.
fun day, I can't lie.
Yes,
It was
yes.
hot. Don't get me
It's the
wrong. Definitely put
hottest
on like your
day.
tank
And
tops and
yes,
get
it
get prepared, but
absolutely. There's
it's a fun day.
emotions, there's energy. It is the hottest day of the year every single year.
Hmm.
But we won't worry about explaining a whole lot of those logistics and details
Yeah.
because we want to be able to spend that time on the 31st really going into them and on what everybody can expect. So let's kind of shift gears a little bit and let's say that students move into their rooms. They're either in a double or a triple. They're getting to know their roommates and they're just not connecting with that individual or they're not
Yeah.
connecting with that space. take us through
Yeah.
what happens from there.
So the first 2 weeks of move-in for both semesters, not just the fall semester, is gonna be a grace period. So we're gonna, if you come to your RA, we're just gonna tell you, hey, try to figure it out a little bit. We can give you some pointers. We can kind of walk you through, unless it's absolutely something super severe. But off chances it's just, oh, we just didn't match vibes. I didn't like this conversation we had, blah, 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 blah. We just try to tell you to work it out for the first 2 weeks because you're just trying to get to know this person and the way they
Absolutely.
live. So just give a grace period. After the 2 weeks, if you're still interested in if you're just not vibing, if something's not working out with the roommate, if something's not clicking, you can come back to the RA. We can sit down and have a roommate mediation. That'll create a roommate agreement. This also goes for suite mates. We have a suite mate agreement. So the 2 or 4 or 6, however many people are in the suite or the room specifically, we can meet up with up to 2 RAs. And you kind of just will walk through each of the questions. One of the questions will be like, okay, what time does loud music have to stop playing? Because we do have quiet hours in our hall, but some students still like to play music outside of their headphones. So, be like, oh, okay, at 9 p.m., there's no more music allowed to be outside of headphones. And just things like that. Or you can't use the bathroom. I want to shower at 10 p.m. every single night. So, that'll be in the roommate mediation or the roommate agreement, and we'll just walk through those steps. We'll put the roommate agreement in play for the remainder of the semester. Now, if at any point in the semester the roommate mediation is violated by either of the roommates, it will be taken up to pro staff and the dean of students, and uh, they'll handle it from there, roommate switches and everything like that. Now, if you made a friend and this friend just so happens to have an empty room and it's like the middle of October and you're just like, I kind of want to live with this friend. I don't really see my roommate. I don't care for living with my roommate. Then that's a conversation again that you'll have with your RA. If they feel as necessary, they will bring it up to pro staff as well and our student affairs division, our residence life team, all that jazz, and we'll have a conversation about whether we think it's okay for you to move. I'm not going to say yes or no because that's again up to pro staff's decision, but if they choose to do so, then you can move as well. So it doesn't have to be as a severe case as going through the whole roommate survey, but if you did have a friend that you wanted to move in with, you can probably do that as well.
Yeah, and so we really like those 2 weeks for everybody to just get adjusted and figure things out. I mean, it's a huge change for so many
Yeah.
people, and you may already know your roommate coming in, but living with somebody can be very different than knowing them. So that's why
Yeah.
we do have that 2 week freeze while we're also, making sure that we've accounted for,
Yeah.
everybody and where they're supposed to be and that they're in the right spots. But that's what the RAs are for, to
Yeah.
kind of talk through and work through with an objective third party, that
And
can.
that kind of goes for all rooms, whether that's a triple or a double. So if there's just one person that's not vibing with the other two, we can't kick someone out of their room. That is their space too at the end of the day. But we can sit down again and have that roommate agreement between all three students and the two RAs. So it goes for all situations, both again, roommate and suite mate. And then if there's any violation, that'll be taken up with dean of students and professional staff members to continue the following steps.
Absolutely. So, just a couple quick reminders. We are recording this call, and so we'll post it out to our most likely Flagler College YouTube channel, and we'll try to make sure that it gets out to the family portal or in our newsletters. All these sessions will be virtual throughout the summer, and so the full list is posted to the family portal, and including that July 31st session on move-in day. And so that's so that anybody can attend these, anybody can, listen in later on, and get the information that they're hoping for. Elevators are in each of our residence halls. And
Mm-hmm.
so we have those in the FEC Towers, Aver, Sebastian Towers. There's a couple that will be in Ponce, and then we've got one in Lewis and one in Cedar.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's see. What about bikes? This is a
Yeah. So, in case you don't know, first years are allowed to bring their car on campus. However, I'm not first year, I'm a fourth year student, don't have a car, let alone a
okay. This is a good
license, but we don't
question.
have to talk about that. So
Yeah.
definitely a lot of students bring bikes, mopeds, skateboards, motorized, anything and beyond. Um, if you do have a student that's bringing a motorized scooter or bicycle or anything like that, it is not allowed in the residence hall either, even to charge. Um, we just can't have it. God
It's
forbid
a
something were to
fire
happen. It's
hazard.
just dangerous.
Yeah.
But anything else like a moped, there are designated moped parking spots on campus. We have bike racks at almost every residence hall and almost every building on campus.
Mhm.
Specifically, there's one in our little breezeway area between our dining hall or our art building. No, between our dining hall and our main academic building. In that second breezeway, we do have a bike rack in there. So for students who might be commuting, or if you're coming from FEC and you want to bike over to main campus, which is again only a 7 to 10 minute walk. On a good day, it's a 7 minute walk for me. On a slow day, it's about 15 minutes, so it's not too far. But if a student did want to bike over there, we do have closer bike racks than any like other residence hall. But bike racks are all over campus, and we push for manual transportation. As a science major, I love seeing people riding their bikes or take carpooling or taking initiative to do a different mode of transportation that's not a normal car. Um, so yeah, it's definitely a very highly. And if you have a skateboard, we have a little skateboard rack that kind of hangs out right next to our dining hall. So if you want to go in
Duh.
dining hall, you can kind of rest your skateboard there and go into dining hall, enjoy your meal, and then you'll come out and grab it. So I think that's really fun. Hmm.
So you mentioned the dining hall. So let's talk
Yes.
about our dining options on
Yes.
campus.
So we have our main dining hall, and then we have three other dining facilities on campus. Um, we have our main dining hall, like I said. We have our bistro, which consists of Chick-fil-A, Bento Sushi, and Kookaburra Coffee. We
That's
have
in our
our
student
pod
center.
market. Huh? That's in our
That's in
student
our
center. Yes, sorry. And then we have two pod markets. One is in our FEC Abear Complex, the Commons. And then we have one in the Sebastian House as well. Those are going to be like a little convenience store. They have a little bit, they have some detergent and like some toiletries in there. So in case you're like, oh no, we ran out of toilet paper, they have toilet paper in there for you to buy, like last minute before you run to the store. But they also have some meals in there, whether that's microwavable or you can even use a dining hall swipe, which I'll just talk about in just a second. So just really convenient store items, which is really nice for you just to go and grab something quick, or if it's a Saturday and you don't want to walk all the way to dining hall, you can just grab it. Um, and yeah, our dining services is really accommodating. So if you have any allergies, if you have any dietary restrictions, if you have any like rare allergies, any like literally like anything that you can't eat, just communicate with our dining hall staff. They're some of the sweetest people I've ever met. And if you communicate with them, they will literally go to the store for you. I had a friend who's really close with them and messaged them in class. She was like, "Hey, like I really want some hard-boiled eggs." And the woman went to the store, bought her hard-boiled eggs, and we both walked into dining hall together. She walked to the back, went to the office, grabbed her hard-boiled eggs, and started eating them. And I said, "Girl, what? How'd you do that?"
What a service.
So right. Our dining hall people are some of the sweetest
They are.
people
Yeah.
ever. I know all the lines. I'm also an ambassador on campus, so I have a lot of this like part of my tour script. So I'll just run through really quickly what we have. So we have a dessert bar. I think that's the most important thing we have on campus. We have our pizza bar. I will say our pizza is better than when I got here. It's not New York style pizza, but it's definitely pretty good. We have our Mongolian line, which is going to be kind of like hibachi. We'll have our dining hall staff will cook right on that grill for us. We have our deli line that's partnered with Boar's Head Meats. We have our grill line that's burgers, chicken sandwiches, hot dogs. Um, our home line that's always going to have nutritious stuff. So you're going to have one starch, a protein, and two vegetables. And then we have our vegan line. I was vegetarian my first 2 years here. I still kind of am. So I've eaten there a lot, but I know a lot of students who aren't vegetarian and just reach out and test those options out as well. We have gluten-free options and desserts throughout our main dining hall area as well. We have a smoothie bar that's open for students to make their own smoothie for breakfast and lunch, a salad bar for students to make their own salad for lunch and dinner. We have a soup of the day,
Oh my
and then
goodness, you keep going.
I know. I'm telling you, I have all this like rehearsed in my head, and then we have our breakfast nook that I like to call our little continental room. That has our cereal bar, coffee bar, another really important thing on campus, and then some breakfast items as
Coffee
well.
and
So
dessert.
that kind of
And
covered
so
all the food, I hope. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah. But first year students are required to have the full meal plan, which is called our all access meal plan. They can choose to upgrade it to the all access VIP plan. And then transfer students and upper class students can choose from one of the other meal plans.
yeah.
All of those are outlined and the, pieces of them and where students can use the dining dollars for what. If they can trade any of their meals, that's all outlined on the Flagler College Meal Plans website. And so if
Yeah.
you're looking to see what that all entails, or for upper class students, if they're looking to make any switches, definitely head there so you can see what the makeup is for all of those.
I will say having the all access as a first year is going to be very, very beneficial for your student. You don't want them coming in with a 10 meal swipe and they can only go into the dining hall 10 times a week. The unlimited allows them to go in whenever they want between our hours. I remember freshman year, we would always go in, we'd grab a smoothie and a little boat of fries, and then we'd head out to the pool, and then we'd go back a little bit later for another meal, and then we'd go back a little bit later for something else, or we'd go back for a little snack. So it's really nice
Dessert.
to have it. And then spring semester, we were like, okay, I don't really use it that much. So I want to go down. Or I love the all access. I want to stay here. Like I had friends who, and I myself, I went down to the 10 swipe, meal swipe a day a week just because that was more convenient for me. I wasn't going in as often, especially moving into FEC. But I had a friend who kept her all access plan and went in and got us all smoothies and, French fries and stuff like that. So definitely all access your first year is going to be more beneficial than you might feel.
Yeah. And the dining hall, a lot of the different stations are open for the full day.
Yeah.
The home style, the Mongolian station, those have specific hours of operation just because they do have
Mhm.
staff that's making kind of a customized meal for you.
Yeah.
But students will have access to it. Laundry, there's no time on laundry. Those are all open
Yeah.
all the time. Parking is available all the time. We do have residential parking passes and then commuter student passes. And as we mentioned, there are lots that are all around campus, some by the residence halls, some that are not. But as you said that you didn't have a car, I don't think you still,
Yeah.
yeah. And so that's
I
kind of,
mean, I definitely have plenty of friends who've had cars all over campus. Again, living in Lewis, my first year, both my roommates didn't have a car until one of my roommates got a car in February of my freshman year. So that last half, and she didn't buy the parking pass, so there's also street parking if you choose to find free street parking as well. Um, but if you've never been to campus, campus is no more than a 10-minute walk. You can walk from one point on campus to the other point on campus within 20 minutes. I mean, our tours, there's no golf cart or anything like that because we can walk it all in, we talk a lot, but we walk it all in about an hour and 15 minutes. So you don't have to worry about walking super far. And if you do have to park in the parking garage, but you live in Ponce, our security team from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., like Tara mentioned earlier, do have security shuttles, and I'm sure you'll talk about that a little bit later.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and like another, and one of your other sessions with William Bird, our head of security. I know you'll talk about that, but that's a really, really great resource. There was one time I was doing a physics paper up until 4 o'clock in the morning in our Brown Innovation Center, which is open for students 24/7. And I was like, I'm not walking back to my room at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I called the security line and they picked me up and dropped me right off. So even if it is far away, you don't have to walk all that at night. And during the day, it's not that bad. And we do have shuttle times during the day as well.
Okay. We are getting close to the end of our session, but I did want to just make some time to answer a couple other little questions and bring some more reminders. Again, July 31st, we will have that session over Zoom at 6 p.m., where we'll go over all the details for move-in. Unfortunately, students will not be able to see their assigned room prior to move-in day, whether they're coming for orientation or not. But we'll go over the logistics of what to expect on move-in day then. Athletes will have a little bit of a different schedule. And so if you are on the athletics team, keep an eye out for any communication that's coming from them on moving in early because practice will begin a little bit early. Um, Adriana, you have mentioned being in the different halls throughout your time here. Students don't stay in the same room for their whole time here. We have first year housing halls, and then we have upper class housing halls. You are not from around here, so what do you do with your belongings over the summer months?
Yeah. So my first year, when I first got here, I had 3 suitcases of stuff that I packed, and then I kind of packed all that up and went back home. Fortunately for me, I do have my mom's fiance who lived up in Jacksonville. He still lives there, but my mom did move down with him. But so my first year, we left some bigger stuff with him, and then we brought most of my suitcases and all my other random stuff home. I did ship some stuff back home as well. Um, these past 2 summers, I've stayed here on campus. So if you do choose to stay over the summer, we do have specific summer housing. So you'll move out of whatever residence hall you're in, unless you happen to be in the summer housing hall. Which even then you might have to move a room for whatever specified reason. Um, but you'll move into a separate room with a separate move-in date. But you don't have to move your stuff out to move back in. We can give you an extension in your current room until you move out. So last summer I moved out of, or I was fortunate enough that I didn't have to move out of my room. I did get a summer roommate though. She was super sweet. I had no problems. That I was able to stay in my room over the last summer and then moved into my RA room last August. This year I moved from Lewis over back to FEC for the summer. And then I'm moving back to Lewis in the fall in August again. So yeah, you'll just kind of be able to move your stuff around. If you don't have a car, you can probably ask security to help you. I have amazing friends and family who've helped me move. My 9 carloads. Don't bring as much stuff as me, please don't.
Nine carloads.
'Cause
I'm not going to ask what kind of car you were loading either.
they were big cars. It was our one of our alumni now, Brett, his car, and then my mom's fiance's car as
All
well.
right.
We loaded both
Um,
cars and brought it back and
so
so
as a
please don't bring as much
reminder,
stuff. But
that Adriana shared earlier. If you are looking to see what the rooms look like, we have those room tour videos that are on the Flagler College YouTube channel and on the Residence Life website. As you talked about earlier, the rooms and ponds all look different. And so it's really hard to answer how a typical one looks because
mhm,
each room is going to be different. But the
yeah.
floor plans that are posted in the resources tab of eRes Life can help you a little bit with what the layout will look like. We do have a few suites in Ponce where they do share a bathroom, but the typical space will have about 3, 4 residents to one bathroom. And so I don't think we've got any triples and triples that are sharing a bathroom.
Hmm.
There's 6 sharing a bathroom, so we don't have to worry
Yeah.
about that. All right, a couple different housekeeping items. I know we have so many questions that we were not able to answer, and we really did try to get through as many as we
Yeah.
could. But if students are interested in changing their assignments now, they can see those in eRes Life. They can always email residencelife@flagler.edu to request a change. Let's say that a student comes to one of our Roar Up orientation sessions over the summer and meets somebody and they're like, I am clicking with this individual. This would be a great roommate. If we've got the space available, we can definitely make that adjustment or we can place them on a wait list for those adjustments. So we don't want to make any promises, but we will absolutely work with the students on any of those changes throughout the summer. But keep checking to see. I can tell you that space in our halls is becoming limited. And so if you had a high preference for one of our halls, we may not have space available today. But like I mentioned, we are managing that wait list and putting students up on there. And so as spaces become available, please keep checking your Flagler email because that's where we will reach out to you if any adjustments are made. When we meet with our director of safety and security, we're going to talk about that fun thing called hurricanes because it's officially hurricane season here in the
Yep.
state of Florida. Yes.
Yeah.
And so what does that mean? But that's a really great talking point to have with
Hmm.
your student and family now.
Yeah.
If we do find that we are in a hurricane and we are in an evacuation zone, where will you go if campus is evacuated? And so having that discussion now, developing that plan now is is going to make it a lot less stressful later on. Important dates to keep in mind, bills will be available to view on June 16th, and so students will have access in my Flagler to that. And then bills are due on August 1st. If you've got any questions about those, student accounts is going to be your main point of contact. Keep talking about that hurricane prep. Reminder, August 22nd is move-in day. Our next webinar will be on June 18th. We'll be with our case office. That is our Center for Advising and Core Experience. And we're going to pull back the curtain on what registering for classes, what that whole process looked like. I know a lot of students in that first wave received some schedules earlier this week, or maybe at the end of last week, somewhere around then. And then I think another wave is coming in a few weeks. And so hearing just why classes were assigned, what that all means, we'll kind of go behind that curtain. As always, if you've got questions, please feel free to email us at residencelife@flagler.edu. Don't forget to sign up for our summer We're Up orientations. If you have any questions in general about orientation@flagler.edu. But Adriana, thank you so much for joining
Of
us. This was
course.
like, whew, we knew this was going to be a big
Yes.
one and people were going to have lots of questions because we are at the end of our time here. What's something really small and short that you could offer as a piece of advice for our incoming students and families?
Just be open to exploring new connections and get out of your comfort zone. I think even if you meet someone at orientation, keep them as a good friend, but stick with a random roommate because you never know who you're gonna meet. I always say, the random roommate, you'll have a roommate and a friend, instead of just a roommate as your friend. So definitely just keep your options open. Some of the first, I know if your child's on TikTok or on college talk, everything like that. I know a lot of people are always like, the first people you meet on campus aren't going to be your best friends. And honestly, that's one of the most truest things I've ever met. I mean, I am friends with some people that I've met freshman year, but I'm closer with a lot of people I've met in my sophomore and junior year as well. So just keep your options open, get out of your comfort zone, try a new food, try a new. Take a fun class. Part of that core experience is taking some random but really fun classes. I took a social media class. Not that that's out of my comfort zone, but it was really funny. And then I had a gaming. My ethics class was a game class, so we played video games in class. So definitely like just shoot for randomness, and
Right.
you never know what you're gonna land on. There's so many things on this campus, so many ways to get involved. For sure. I saw what is some perks of being an RA, just building community, making some more friendships. Um, I'm the treasurer for the Natural Science Club, so if you like sciences, there's a plug there. If you really love Flagler College and want to become an ambassador, we're always open to new ambassadors. Just plugging everything that I'm in, I guess.
All
Um,
right.
Definitely just get
Well,
involved. I think it's a great way to explore yourself and your comfort for sure.
agreed. Agreed. Well, thank you so much, Adriana, for taking time tonight to chat with us. Thank you so much for all of our families and students that
Mhm.
stuck around with us for a little bit. And we will see you on June 18th, if we don't see you before then with orientation. So thank you all.
Bye.